Today on Gabriel's Discovery Kingdom, we're gonna harvest some bee honey. Honey has all sorts of uses. It can be used as medicine or as a sweetener. Let's join beekeeper Paul Redding to find out how honey gets from the hive to the table. First thing I want to know is, did Paul build the hives or order them?
The frames and stuff I put together, a lot of them. This is a plastic frame here. You can buy plastic or wood frames. But this inside here is where the queen will lay the eggs inside of inside these combs that they have already made. This had nothing on it. As you see it over here is actually how it was. And they built all the comb out. Of course, it's all honey on this side here. New larva right now because it's too cold at the time of the year. But she'll lay eggs in there. It looks like a gel. If you have a magnifying glass, you can see it looks like a rice. And after a while, it'll turn into like a little larva. And then it takes 21 days to eventually cap over, and then the queen or the worker will come out.
We were all excited to see some bees and honey.
I'm beginning to warm up.
Yummy honey. Yummy honey. Yummy.
The importance of honey production in ancient times was secondary to the production of beeswax. Beeswax is used for all sorts of things, such as leather waterproofing, polishes, wood filler, and even glass etching.
I don't see no activity. There's pile of honey in there. Let me get to the bottom of this thing. Take this one off. Just point at how this turned out. I'm not sure what happened.
On this show, nothing is scripted, and sometimes things don't go as planned. Paul didn't seem to find the bees he was looking for, and the tension was rising.
Well, that's what I don't understand. I mean, you'd think you'd see the bees in here. There's a couple. The little bit we've seen is not many bees at all. And see, that's all clean out. This is where they lay the eggs. This will all be capped when she lays eggs in it, and it gets a certain stage. What's that in there? Oh, that's the wire going through. Okay, stripe. See, you see the wire going here? It's actually fishing line. I put these together, run a fishing line through, and that keeps the foundation together. When it gets weight, the foundation doesn't fall out. So I crisscrossed it, and that what holds the foundation in. But this would all be full of eggs, larvae, pollen. You'd see the pollen up top and honey. This don't have nothing in it. There's some dead bees. So I'm thinking you see the different colorations. When it first start laying eggs, it kind of looks like this gel type. You can see how you see down here the difference here. Up here is what it kind of looks like when she lays eggs. And then the next stage, you'll see like a little tiny larva. And then the larva gets bigger, and then the workers, they cap it over. So all you see is this all capped over, sealed off. You see no holes. And then later on, you see a little bee pop out, which is pretty neat to see. I've seen different times open up, and I looked in there to see what's this little bee trying to come out through.
Each colony can be ruled by only one queen at a time. When a virgin queen emerges, she locates other virgin queens and eliminates them one at a time. In the event that two virgin honeybee queens emerge simultaneously, they fight each other to the death. Now let's see if we can see some bees.
I hope so.
Oh, yep, that's a whole bunch of them.
I'm hoping so. Put it on top of this one. Make sure they have plenty. It's not as many bees that were in this one that were in these other ones. That was the first one too. That thing was
finally
loaded.
Some bees. Now let's see how to care for them.
So what made you want to start doing this?
Love honey. I wanted to. My parents had beehives, and of course some of these hives are my parents as well. I got from them. I always wanted to like to taste the honey, so I thought, well, what better way than have your own hive and get your own honey. So that's when I got some bees.
It's natural.
Now, how do you buy bees?
Well, there's different places you can go. You can actually get it online, or there's places around here in Greencastle I got. And they get packaged bees. They order them in the early spring. And they're 3 pounds, come with about 10,000 bees or so. Around $85 to $100 for packaged bees.
Oh, wow. And how much honey do you get out of one of these hives?
One of these hives, you get up to, oh my, 40, 50, maybe more pounds of honey.
Wow, that's a lot of honey.
There's a honey bee right there. But depends on how much pollen, depends where you locate it, because we have orchards not too far from here. If they have a good food source they can go to, get their pollen, they can definitely bring in a lot of pollen, and then of course, then that's when they make the honey. Late summer, even during sometimes springtime, just depends how much through the winter time. This is my first time doing it, so I had to start with the package bees. They had to build out their own hives, build out their own comb and everything, and then of course then the queen laid her eggs in it. And later in the summer they started to build up honey. I had to give them sugar water. I have an entrance feeder which I put sugar water, 2 to 1, 2 part sugar and 1 part water. And that's how they feed until they get enough build out inside their hive, and then they put their own honey in there. And once they get that enough, you know, and the nectar out, they can get. And then I pull, you know, I take the feeders away from them.
And you were telling us about mites on the bees.
Yes, and mites is a common problem with the honeybees as well as beetles and moths as well. You should sprinkle. There's different ways of methods. You have some. You can put sugar powder on it, or there's other methods of chemicals you can actually put into the hive to kill the mites. I don't like to use chemicals if I don't have to. I don't think it's good for the environment. So you just put powder? But you can put sugar. Matter of fact, I need to put that on here. Put some sugar powder on, sprinkle it down. It gets on the bees, covers the whole bee up and everything. What it does is the mites can't stick to the bees because they latch onto the bees. So the sugar powder actually loses the grip of the mites and they fall off. They fall to the bottom, and eventually they die off. But having mites and actually shorten the span of the bee at least half their lifespan or more.
She's leaving.
They feed off the bee itself. They lick each other off. They'll lick the sugar off of them.
Because the sugar tastes good.
Yeah.
And then it knocks the mites off.
It helps loosen the mites. It doesn't hurt them. Just
So how fast does do bees flap their wings?
about 200 beats a minute.
Oh wow.
So that's fast, especially when time they're in here. They flap their wings to keep the hive at close to 90 degrees or more, so they keep warm. Today it's probably around 50 degrees or so. I'm not sure, upper 40s, 50s. It's a little chilly. You see them moving around, of course, but if this was a warm, sunny day, they'd be out really flying around. Very, very active.
Well, I think the reason that they have these shaped cones, how they have like 6 sides, is to hold as much honey as possible. Because like circles, that wouldn't very well fit together, but the 3-sided fits perfectly together.
You see, it has 6 sides. The other thing is, if you notice on this is the way it goes up. You notice how the cells, they're at I forget what angle, it's a certain angle they put it up. So when they pack it with honey and stuff, the honey does not come out. So I don't know if you can notice or not, the cells are just tilted up just a little bit. So that way it keeps, like I said, the eggs and honey and everything in there. Originally this came the whole way down because I put the foundation is what it's called. And it looks like something on the side. They built all this out, raised everything out. And it came the whole way down. When I put it, it came the whole way to the bottom, the whole way over and across. So you actually cut some of this out themselves, so that way they can walk from one side to the other side, which is pretty cool. Some people, they'll just put frames in, no foundation at all. They'll put a little wax up top, and the whole bee, the bee will, build it all out. It's pretty cool.
Here Paul was telling me how the bees collect pollen. Honeybees are covered with tiny hairs all over their bodies, even their eyes. Pollen sticks to these hairs as the bee crawls around on the bloom. The pollen particles are moistened with nectar and are brushed down to the baskets on the hind legs. The bee will collect its weight in pollen. Studies have shown that honeybees will fly as much as 6 miles to visit a nectar source and will readily travel 2 miles. There are more than 300 unique types of honey available in the United States, each originating from the different floral sources. More honey is produced from the clover nectar than any other plant in the United States. Alfalfa honey is very common. It seems that the plant determines the color of the honey.
I heard that bees will actually do a certain dance to let the other bees know how far away honey is and what direction.
They do have their own way and smell. In the hive, they have their own smell that they recognize each other. And they do a certain dance too, that they recognize each other. So if a bee comes from a different hive, comes in this hive, and they want to go in and try to rob it, well, they know, they can smell it, they can tell that that ain't the right bee to be in here. So they'll fight it off and, you know, chase it off. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's God designed them to how they know each other. But they're very sociable type bees because they like to be around together as a group. But if you bring another intruder, so to speak, even that's in kind, come in there, they know, hey, I don't belong here. But you can take another hive and actually pull some bees and actually put it with those bees. It'll eventually get along. They might fight and carry on, but they'll get along with each other in time. I've done that some of the hives back there, and eventually they got along and they did, you know, took to each other. So, but it's amazing. It's amazing how they work and you know, design what God has done to them in their bodies to know each other so well. And the workers, you know, they work so hard. They go out and they do most of the work. The drones, well, they're more the lazier ones. Hey, but you think, you know, society, you look at men, usually the worker, the bread worker bringing into the community. Well, here in the beehives, it's the opposite. The women, they're the harder workers. They go out, they bring the pollen in, they clean up the hive. The drones, they're there. When that new queen needs to go out, a couple drones go out with her, and then of course they mate and they die off. The drones that mate, they die off. And sometimes they'll actually, the workers will actually drag out the drones. They don't want too many drones in the hives. They will actually drive them out because it takes too much space up. They just don't need them. So, but it's pretty cool. I mean, the queen, all her business is winter and lay. I mean, she just lays how many thousands of eggs each day. So if you got a good queen and good workers, you can have a good hive going. And later down the road, hope you get a lot of honey, you know, for them and for us as well.
Yeah. Finally time to pull the honey from the hive.
This is all cut comb honey, meaning cut comb foundations, no wire, all it is plain wax with honey.
It's as chewy as
So I'm going to do is cut this out. I'm going to cut in sections and put in containers.
There are machines to extract the honey from the comb. We're going to do it by hand. What we need to do is to separate the honey from the comb. The way we will do this is to break the seal of the comb and let the honey drain out.
Want me to try?
It's delicious. You want to try it?
Copy that.
You're mashing it so the honey can get away from the wax and get out. Because the wax is capped. They cap it so the honey doesn't flow out.
I've discovered that getting honey is a lot of hard work. Now all we have to do is let the honey drain out and enjoy.
So what are you using your whip for today with bees?
Nothing. Today it's just purely for looks.
And they have an extra spot.